unlace yourself. Loosen your belt, your grip. Unclench your jaw. Sit back, ease back. Stretch out, all the way. Relax your mind, your usual schedule, your hard and fast rituals. Now soften your gaze, your shoulders, your breath. And that's it. Why hold on so tight? Why not just let yourself unbutton, uncork, roll with it instead of steamrolling it, and see how it all the more naturally, unfolds. Welcome to the latest Floating Poetry broadcast. Thank you for leaning in, for stepping out of other streams of activity and into this one of reflectivity. Now, good to have you here for show 177, coming to you live from the sand-soft shores of Rhode Island. This is your poet and poetorialist, Colin Goedecke, a voice for living our days more fully, more alively, more poetically, and yes, more softly. Last week's broadcast was Shall We Dance? Not only dance in the most literal way, but all the other ways dancing happens, especially when our hearts or spirits dance, our imaginations, and nature's dances, from the waltz of the wind in the trees to the sambas of the sun or moon on the water, the ballets of birds in flight. Well, this week on softening, during these times of so much, too much conscious and unconscious tensing, contracting, often into tough shells, these times of subtle to highly visible tension, psychic to emotional to social unease, in and on the air, in the workplace, in the home, almost everywhere. Amidst all the unknowns, fears and anxieties swirling through this country and all around the world, all the more reason to find ways to soften our eyes and seeing, our bodies, our whole beings, soften our relating with each other, invite, allow, and let ourselves to come into a more easeful, more gentle, and unhigh-strung state. That's the inspiration for this broadcast. One way I felt I could help us go there, starting with our breath, our breathing. That and slowing down, moving from an often breakneck pace to a deliciously, gracefully relaxed one. So, I've shaped a show of cultural commentary, quotes, poetry, and anecdotes for us to soften into here together for a while. Central Park, New York, December 1999. A soft time to walk. It's a soft time of day to walk around the water, a time when the ducks are resting, their snow-white breasts like low clouds, and the December light transmutes the bricks and stones of the buildings to gold. It's a soft time of day to walk when the mild air is musky with moist earth and lovely leaves have fallen from the gowns of disrobing trees that ring the reservoir, a bowl of blue lake reflecting autumn under glass. It's a soft time to walk when all goes pink, even the seashell shape museum, and the lamplights wink on like a train of tethered fireflies, and the sun sinks to rest in a big oblong bath of cantaloupe-colored sky. Amy Lowell, Night and Sleep. The day takes her ease in slippered yellow. Electric signs gleam out along the shop fronts, following each other. They grow and blow into patterns of fire flowers as the sky fades. Trades scream and spots of light at the unruffled night. Twinkle, jab, snap. That means a new play. And over the way, plop, drop, quiver, is the sidelong sliver of a watchmaker's sign with its length on another street. A gigantic mug of beer effervesces to the atmosphere over a tall building, but the sky is high and has her own stars. Why should she heed ours? I leave the city with speed. Wheels whirl and take me back to my trees and my quietness. The breeze which blows with me is fresh-washed and clean. It has come but recently from the high sky. There are no flowers in bloom yet, but the earth of my garden smells of tulips and narcissus. My room is tranquil and friendly. Out of the window I can see the distant city, a band of twinkling gems, little flower heads with no stems. I cannot see the beer glass, nor the letters of the restaurants and shops I passed. Now the signs blur and altogether make the city glowing on a night of fine weather, like a garden stirring and blowing for the spring. The night is fresh-washed and fair, and there is a whiff of flowers in the air. Wrap me close, sheets of lavender. Pour your blue and purple dreams into my ears. The breeze whispers at the shutters and mutters queer tales of old days and cobbled streets and youths leaping their horses down marble stairways. Pale blue lavender, you are the color of the sky when it is fresh-washed and fair. I smell the stars. They are like tulips and narcissus. I smell them in the air. Thank you, Amy Lowell. Night and Sleep, from her collection Men, Women, and Ghosts from 1916. Wonderful poet if you don't know her. Pause. Breathe. Behold where you are, wherever you are. See all the life flowing around you. Feel all the life flowing inside you. Breathe. Pause. To just be with yourself. Be at ease with yourself. Be held simply by your body, gently by your heart, freely by the light and the air and the pure ground of the earth. Breathe here for a while with everything. Yes, friends, pause often as you soften. Raining in. Long Beach, New York, August 2021. Starts with a quote from a friend of mine. The rain finds places no one ever sees, much like the privacy of the soul. Raining in. Pattering down. Sussing and syncopating in the late night hours. The sound of wet, soft water music. Freshly, clearly beading and rilling in. Into the ears of the house. Into your ears. The pores of your skin. The shores of your limbs. Breath. Heart. Places beyond your thoughts. Awakening time present, times past, past lives, listening like this, to this sky water falling, quietly singing to you, calling to you, finding and gently filling you, cleansing and softening, and so airily calming and comforting you. Madison, New Jersey, November 2017. The ginkgos. They stand, bare-shouldered, in a row, in pools of Ming yellow of their own and autumn's making. Pools of yellow light, of fallen maidenhair fans, spread and delicate. I'm drawn in the gathering dusk to stand in, under their still glowing limbs, to drink in, with softening eyes at their slender feet, to bathe in, breathe in, by their graceful, peaceful leave. Jeffrey Brock, The Day. It hangs on its stem like a plum at the edge of a darkening thicket. It's swelling and blushing and ripe, and I reach out a hand to pick it, but flesh moves slow through time, and evening comes on fast, and just when I think my fingers might seize that sweetness at last, the gentlest of breezes rises, and the plum lets go of the stem. And now it's my fingers ripening, and evening that's reaching for them. Beautiful. Thank you, Jeffrey Brock, a new poet and poem to me, maybe to you. The American Buddhist monk, Pema Chodron, from the places that scare you. We can let the circumstances of our lives harden us so that we become increasingly resentful and afraid, or we can let them soften us and make us kinder and more open. We always have this choice. Indeed we do. I've had enough living to know now that it is true. For a dear friend of forever, of 50, almost 50 years, Robert Rakuzik, on his 81st birthday 2 years back, gentle man. Man with the gentle face, the gentle voice, the gentle heart. How I felt you from the first moment of our meeting, and every experience after, now near a half-century later. A gentling presence of soulful softness, kindness, sentience across my life and memory. You who have surely touched many like me with this rare grace. Love out to him, wherever he is, maybe up in Prince Edward Island, where he does spend time now. Well, let's look at the physicality, aside from much else, and its ripples. This is from Neways, neways.com. Somatic psychotherapy, how to soften the body to withstand stress and roll with the punches. People who are tense suffer more pain and are more prone to injury. This takes a toll physically and psychologically. Stuntmen, gymnasts, firefighters, and even the elderly are taught to soften the body, tuck and roll when they fall. Skydivers are masters of softening their bodies to land without bruising or breaking a bone. They're taught the, quote, banana method. You may not be a skydiver, but all of us occasionally trip. Softening your body into a curve makes your deceleration last as long as possible to minimize injury. Even when you're just tripping over a curb, if you land stiff arm, you'll likely break something. Tuck and roll to your side if possible, or if you're falling face first, let your elbows bend in a push-up motion that allows your pecs to take the force of the fall. We carry so much tension and stress from daily life in our muscles and tissue, and so it's not surprising we suffer from aches and pains. Plus, as we age, we lose flexibility, becoming more prone to losing our balance and falling. While learning to safely fall takes months of practice under the direction of a skilled trainer, there's a lot you can do on your own to learn how to soften your body on a daily basis. You find yourself becoming more flexible and at the same time relieve stress and tension. It's no mistake that a ball is round. Rounder objects handle stress better. When you learn not to be rigid, but to soften the body, you'll stand up under stress better, well illustrated by what engineers have learned about designing airplane windows. And they talk about that, and they say, well, what does it all mean for you? Instead of letting everyday stressors make you rigid, in your thinking and physiology, learn to soften your body and roll with the punches, literally and figuratively. Here are 3 simple ways to soften your body. Slow down your frenetic brain by practicing deep breathing exercises. Actively soften the body. Pay attention to what your body's saying and move it until it relaxes. And practice mindfulness in daily tasks. Quiet your mind by learning to be present in each moment instead of multitasking. So I thought I'd share those. I thought those were good thoughts, and especially the multitasking. I've come down to just monotasking. That's the secret. No more multi. Anna Murphy Paul devotes a portion of her book, The Extended Mind, The Power of Thinking Outside the Brain. How about that? It's a good title. A wonderful inquiry into the art science of thinking with the whole world, and to the science of this peculiar and singularly fertile state of mind into which communion with the non-human world deposits us. So here's a snippet. She says, scientists theorize that the soft fascination, quotes, evoked by natural scenes engages what's known as the brain's default mode network. When this is activated, we enter a loose associative state in which we're not focused on any one particular task, but are receptive to unexpected connections and insights. In nature, few decisions and choices are demanded of us, granting our minds the freedom to follow our thoughts wherever they lead. I would say our body, too. At the same time, nature is pleasantly diverting in a fashion that lifts our mood without occupying all our mental powers. Such positive emotion, in turn, leads us to think more expansively and open-mindedly. In the space that is thus made available, currently active thoughts can mingle with the deep stores of memories, emotions, and ideas already present in the brain, generating inspired collisions. So there you have it, the extended mind. I want to read that, or some of it. Well, as we soften along, I'm going to have a little water to further soften my insides. And take a breath. Keep easing. Each of us. Yes, so as we soften along here, I have some questions. For us, for you. When are you your tensest self, your most rigid self? And when are you your softest self? What's the source of your current or recurring tensions? Your physical ones? Your emotional ones? Your mental and or spiritual ones? And are they all connected? Might they be? Are you afraid of or hesitant to let yourself soften? And if so, why is that? What's behind that? Because all the great spiritual traditions point to the strength that comes from that place, that yielding, that unshielding. How can you find any or more ways, points, moments in your days, your day-to-day, to ease, to loosen, to let more gentling happen, despite the pull to tighten, or as a good antidote to all that? What people or things have the most and best softening effect on you, especially on your whole being, yeah, when you're with them? Interesting, isn't it? If you haven't noticed how our eyes are often way at the front, far front of our faces, often pressing, straining out there with a kind of hardness, and just by letting them soften and resting them back into our face. You can do that now. Just notice the great difference in your body and your feeling, and how you even see differently when you do this. The good news is you can do it often. Soften often. There are, of course, all kinds of practices that help soften us, from yoga to meditation to music, to a quiet walk, especially out in nature. The deeper the better, free from the cacophony of man-made noise. And just simple quiet, sitting or laying back in a quiet place, a room, a chair, a bed, a bath, letting yourself be at ease, floating in a way. And yes, also literally floating in the water when you can. Warm water, maybe in an ocean in the summer, or the tropics, Caribbean. Your limbs outstretched, letting the water cradle you. If you thought of people you know with any of the following, a beautifully soft or gentle face, or heart, or voice, or manner, or way of meeting the world, who are those people? And what could you learn from them, or are learning from their modeling of softness? And speaking of the voice, explore the difference, not just with your eyes, but with your voice, the contrast of being harder versus softer edge. Yeah, try that both ways. See how that feels. Have someone else listen to you and have them tell you how it feels to them, to their ears. What about all the things in the day and the world around you that express or evoke softness? What would you say? Maybe butter softening when you lather it on your toast or corn cob. Maybe a lovely kitten or puppy, or an infant. Maybe a sweater, cashmere, or lamb's wool. or a down pillow you sink your head into in bed at night, or a loving hand on your cheek or on your shoulder, or a gentle rain, a butterfly, the sun-warmed sand of a beach under your bare feet, mist, clouds, a rainbow, a lullaby, a serenade. Softness abounds. You can surround yourself with it in so many forms, and I encourage you to, and to take it all in, and fill yourself with it, and let yours flow. Well, I'd like to share a micro meditation of just a few minutes long with you, read by a friend of mine that comes from Kim Orr, O-R-R, founder and creator of Contemplative Practice Yoga in Loveland, Colorado. She was her student, and I'll play that for you, her reading that for us right now. Just a moment.
Find a comfortable position. If sitting, place both feet on the floor. If laying down, prop your head for comfort. Slowly close your eyes or create a soft downward gaze. Begin to notice your breath. Begin to soften into its rhythm. You're going home again with ease to reclaim your original place, the deep and quiet place of only you. Take a long, slow, easy in-breath with an easy emptying. And another. Settle back into yourself, softening a little more with each easy breath. Whatever your breath is doing is just fine. Simply attend to your breath. Notice your breath and the gentle flow of your breath as it moves and stills, inside and outside. Now find the softest part of you inside. It can be anywhere in your body. Simply become aware of where it resides. And when you find it, gently acknowledge the place and breathe into it, inside and outside. Continue to settle into this place. Now bring your breath to your place within you. And with each breath, allow your place to expand with soft gentleness. Allow your awareness to increase in the movement and stillness of your breath. Bless this place, this softened place, and know you can return to it at any time. Take a long, slow, final in-breath with an easy emptying. Welcome home.
That was lovely. I followed that along. I hope you did too. And I thank them for that. Well, here's a meditation of mine on a spring equinox for you. Serenely centered. You're floating straight up above a field or an ocean, a forest or mountain. Your limbs are loose. Your gaze is soft. A warm breeze plays on your skin. Centered over your head is a great sun. Below your soles, a great moon. The three of you floating together, balanced weightlessly, cradled gently in space, in the open sky. Your three bodies a trinity of light and lightness, serenely centered with the earth, the fertile earth, your home, your breathing and birthing place, being and becoming place, that turns itself now slowly, now surely, again to flower at your feet. Well, dear listeners, we can use not only our imaginations, but our outer and inner taste buds to take in, to feel into beautiful easiness or easierness of being, and being connected to ourselves, as we were just going through with that beautiful meditation, and to ourselves and to nature, of which we are obviously a part. Sometimes we forget that. Taste. This is a poem for the senses. Taste. Taste the rain-soaked air. Feel the touch of summer sunlight on your skin, your limbs. Listen to the late-night planets arc with the stars overhead. Breathe in all the deep stillness of the dusk, the dawn. See the unseen, the living world of every inner sensed, everywhere intermingling elements. Taste. Shelter Harbor, Rhode Island, March 2022. Spring is near. A fountain of yellow forsythia plumes into the March blue sky. Chickadees and cedar waxwings reappear. The robin's song is fruitier. The light is whiter, fuller. The ground is beginning to soften, exhale, exude its earthiness. And I feel my limbs in kind beginning to loosen, my breath beginning to soften and deepen, my spirit ready to bud like the bare but soon budding trees as spring draws near. In the Yucatan on the Mayan coast, February 2001, a little hotel there surrounded by the sea, and then miles of empty beach, and behind that jungle. So those places, whatever they are, where we have sought out and can seek out to ease all parts of ourself into. The mise en scène at Lafitte 01. A white-clabbered boat with barn-red trim is tied up by the shore, where soft cymbal clashes of sea sound and sound. A coterie of clouds lie mostly low along the wide horizon, a horizon with color that deepens as the ocean telescopes in, from midnight blue, almost black, to pale green marble, all cake-frosted at this hour. The sand is so fine and warm beyond the circle of shade we share, where we sit together and read, you the salty tale of Ahab's wife, me these lines lapping onto the page. Our palapa is a little leaning tower of Pisa, or a straw umbrella planted and fluttering at the fringes like the fledgling palms, with their dreams of distant treedom, and clusters of creamy coconuts and yolked yellow birds perching on their shoulders to sing to the sunrise and sunset. A bleached white bungalow sits on either side of our cool, feathered nest. The walls soak in sun as we catch the constant breeze. The scene is totally serene, the mood mellow. All clocks have stopped or unwound. and all cares have dissolved in the soft, purifying air of the idle afternoon. From Richard Rohr, R-O-H-R, Richard Rohr's Daily Meditation from the Center for Action and Contemplation, always quietly inspiring to me. Week 35, A Contemplative Heart. Extraordinary, ordinary moments. Spiritual teacher and CAC friend Mirabai Starr, double R, poetically describes the contemplative experience that is stirred through regular lives, whether in nature, through relationships, or our suffering. Contemplative life flows in a circular pattern. Awe provokes introspection, which invokes awe. Maybe you're making dinner, and you step outside to snip chives from the kitchen garden just as the harvest moon is rising over the eastern slopes. She is full and golden, like one of those pregnant women who radiates from within. Suddenly you cannot bear the beauty. Scissors suspended in your hand, tears pooling at the corners of your eyes. You nearly quit breathing. Your gaze softens and the edges of your individual identity fade. You are absorbed into the heart of the moon. It feels natural, and there's no other place you'd rather be. But the onions are burning, and so you turn away and cut your herbs and go back inside. You resume stirring the sauce and setting the table. This is not the first time you have disappeared into something beautiful. You have experienced the unfettering of the subject-object distinction while holding your daughter's hand as she labored to give birth to your grandson, when curled up in bed with your dying friend, while yielding to your lover's lips. You have lost yourself in heartbreak, then lost the desire to ever regain yourself, then lost your fear of death. You long ago relinquished your need for cosmic order and personal control. You welcome unknowingness. Which is why seemingly ordinary moments like moonrises and lovemaking undo you. The veil has been pulled back. Everything feels inexhaustibly holy. This is not what they taught you in the church of your childhood. Your soul has been formed in the forge of life's losses, galvanized in the crucible of community, fertilized by the rain of relationship, blessed by your intimacy with Mother Earth. You have glimpsed the face of the divine where you least expected it. Thank you very much, Mirabai Starr, for that. Beautiful. Just beautiful and right for us. In the Lake Country of New York State, Monroe, New York, July 4th, 2021. I've been speaking of letting in, letting yourself and, your being go in many ways, which is necessary and vital to softening. On this summer night, on this freewheeling, free-feeling night, let the fireflies be your fireworks, and the cascading stars of Perseus, Andromeda, Cassiopeia be your dreamworks. Let your spirit float like a cork on the waters of the passing hours, your passing fancies, and all your thoughts come to rest, come to ease, and gentle nest on this lulling night, on this green-leafing summer evening. Near Jerish Island, Kittery, Maine, June 2017, point of convergence of pine green land, of ash gray sand studded with bleached oyster shells, wave-washed stones, of clear cold sea, of a slow-moving scrim of salt-white mist soft over the surfaces, echoing a low tide of blue-bordered clouds, of an unveiled body and spirit of a free-floating man, a poet, coming together on a solitary, salutary Maine coast morning. What about flowers that gift us with such sweet softness, universally touching us? New York City, April 1999, late morning magnolia. Pale gray branches hold hundreds of blushing white butterflies, warming their soft wings in the sun. Crested Butte, Colorado, autumn 1992, the hills. The hills are brown, soft, sleeping women dusted with aspen yellow. Holland, the Netherlands, 1998. Dit zachte land, this gentle land. Cloth-white cows float by, reflected in the moss-cool water that streams through this soft land, where centuries pass on summer afternoons. Yes, slowing down, decelerating, rolling down the windows of the self and taking in the scenery. Take the scenic route. It doesn't have to be breathtaking, but should give you all kinds of room to breathe. The idea is to slow down, ease back, take a route, a road, a path, choose a way, any given day or moment that allows you to take in the scenery, enjoy the view, refreshingly unfamiliar views, to appreciate the wonders of all kinds, of meandering, of unrushing, unwinding. Become part of the scenery. I was thinking as I went along of people and childhood experiences as well. Here's Elizabeth Alexander Butter. My mother loves butter more than I do, more than anyone. She pulls chunks off the stick and eats it plain, explaining cream spun around into butter. Growing up, we ate turkey cutlets sautéed in lemon and butter and cheese on green noodles, butter melting in small pools in the hearts of Yorkshire puddings, butter better than gravy staining white rice yellow, butter glazing corn in slipping squares, butter the lava in white volcanoes of hominy grits, butter softening in a white bowl to be creamed with white sugar, butter disappearing into whipped sweet potatoes, with pineapple, butter melted in curdy to pour over pancakes, butter licked off the plate with warm Alaga syrup. When I picture the good old days, I am grinning greasy with my brother, having watched the tiger chase his tail and turn to butter. We are Mumbo and Jumbo's children. Despite historical revision, despite our parents' efforts, glowing from the inside out, 100 megawatts of butter. Thank you, Elizabeth Alexander, from her collection Body of Life. I love that, and it reminded me that I was told that as I was a child, I was apparently at some point, hopefully not more than many, allowed to eat sticks of butter. Can you imagine what was my mother up to at that point? She probably was not paying attention. But I made it here, and I don't have a high cholesterol, but I do love butter. It's not in my diet right now, but I was a butter king, that's for sure, like her. Okay, Pauletta Hansel. Husbands. My mother likes a man who works. She likes my husband's muddy knees, grass stains on the cuffs. She loved my father, though when weekends came, he'd sleep till 9 and would not lift his eyes up from the page to move the feet she'd vacuum under. On Saturdays, my husband digs the holes for her new roses, softening the clay with peat and compost. He changes bulbs she can no longer reach and understands the inside of her toaster. My father's feet would carry him from chair to bookshelf, back again till Monday came. My mother likes to tell my husband, sit down in this chair and put your feet up. Thank you, Pauletta Hansel. And if you haven't put your feet up yet out there listening, now's a good time, or any time. This is from Owl's Head, Maine. I was looking at this beautiful portrait on the wall of the room I was sleeping in at my friend's house. And I was taken by the figure, and this poem came into me. It's dedicated to Johnny Weissmuller, who is the person who played Tarzan in the old movies. Tarzan's Room. The name I give the room I sleep in this house, on this street, to the sea. Because over the bed is a vintage portrait of the figure I grew up watching, swinging through the jungle, living in the wild, being free. But I see this as an inside-out portrait of a beautifully tender man, a tenderly beautiful man, his eyes turned privately, quietly, away from the camera, from the viewer, looking somewhere far away, far within, and his skin, his soft, sun-browned face, and monumentally shaped, gracefully rounded shoulders, so luminous, with aliveness, with a light of his own making, of Johnny's incandescing. Tarzan's Room. Do you know or remember the story of Ferdinand the Bull, the children's story? The sweet bull, Ferdinand. Well, I like how this poet new to me uses it. Matt Mason, the story of Ferdinand the Bull. Dad would come home after too long at work, and I'd sit on his lap to hear the story of Ferdinand the Bull. Every night, me handing him the red book until I knew every word. Couldn't read, just recite along with drawings of a gentle bull, frustrated matadors, the all-important bee, and flowers. Flowers in meadows and flowers thrown by the Spanish ladies. It's lesson, really, about not being what you're born into, but what you're born to be, even if that means not caring about the capes they wave in your face or the spears they cut into your shoulders. And Dad, wonderful Dad, came home after too long at work and read to me the same story every night until I knew every word. Couldn't read, just recite. Thank you, Matt Mason. Well, let's feel into this poem, Loving Together. This loving poem. Love Song by Maggie Dietz. The ancients would lift a clay spout to your lips, water and honey and wine. I give you milk softened with wine and swear you'll never hunger, never thirst while I'm alive. What suffering I can't preclude, I'll soothe with singing. My future, for you, not the greenness of a leaf, but of the leaves on all the April branches. Fire, I give you fuel. I sweat and chop the wood. I tender forever in you who begin where I end, as if your body is my body, your elegance my elegance. Sustenance, emptiness is lack of you. Yearning is the road to where you are. You are the road, the where, the song, the hunger. Child, I give you sleep. I sing you there. Beautiful. Thank you, Maggie Dietz. Love song from her collection, That Kind of Happy. And love, yes, the great softener of the heart. Dan Gerber, Marriage. When you are angry, it's your gentle self I love until that's who you are. In any case, I can't love this anger any more than I can warm my heart with ice. I go on loving your smile till it finds its way back to your face. Marriage by Dan Gerber. Well, wouldn't it be lovely if all marriages had that as the main impulse, eh? Well, I want to keep us in time, so I'm not going to read this, although it's lovely. I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to point you to it. You can find it at poetryfoundation.org. Catalog of Ephemera by Rebecca Lindenberg, B-E-R-G. And it opens with "You Give Me Flowers Resembling Chinese Lanterns," and it's quite beautiful. So for another time. Well, to me, one of the softest, gentlest animals in the wild that I can think of is the mourning dove. What a sweetness those doves have. I wrote this recently in August for a friend of mine. Mourning dove. Mourning dove meets morning love in a floating garden colored with summer. Her softness meeting yours, a sharing of gentleness, gracefulness, as your wings and hers, drying in the sun, fold together for a slight while, here in the quietude. And some more wise words from Pema Chodron about following your unforced breath as a way of contacting the art of letting go. Being fully present isn't something that happens once and then you have achieved it. It's being awake to the ebb and flow and movement and creation of life, being alive to the process of life itself. That also has its softness. If there were a goal that you were supposed to achieve, such as, quote, no thoughts, that wouldn't be very soft. You'd have to struggle a lot to get rid of all those thoughts, and you probably couldn't do it anyway. The fact that there is no goal also adds to the softness. The honesty of precision and the good-heartedness of gentleness are qualities of making friends with yourself. As you work with being really faithful to the technique and being as precise as you can and simultaneously as kind as you can, the ability to let go seems to happen to you. The discovery of your ability to let go spontaneously arises. You don't force it. You shouldn't be forcing accuracy or gentleness either, but while you could make a project out of accuracy, you could make a project out of gentleness. It's hard to make a project out of letting go. Thank you, Pema Chodron, again. poet and philosopher Khalil Gibran, who lived 1883 to 1931. He has an uncommonly soulful poem, a long poem, Youth and Age, that he penned in his early 40s shortly after he wrote The Prophet. And I just have one piece of it I want to share with you. In my youth, I was but the slave of the high tide and the ebb tide of the sea, and the prisoner of half moons and full moons. Today I stand at this shore, and I rise not, nor do I go down. Yes, in my youth, I was a thing, sad and yielding, and all the seasons played with me and laughed in their hearts. And life took a fancy to me and kissed my young lips and slapped my cheeks. Today I play with the seasons, and I steal a kiss from life's lips ere she kisses my lips. And I even hold her hands playfully that she may not strike my cheek. In my youth I was sad indeed, and all things seemed dark and distant. Today all is radiant and near, and for this I would live my youth, and the pain of my youth again and yet again. Thank you, Khalil Gibran. So, friends, now coming into our last musings and sharings, Marianne Williamson, from her morning meditation, April 10th. Today I choose to be my best self. Practice kindness, and you start to become kind. Practice discipline, and you start to become disciplined. Practice forgiveness, and you start to become forgiving. Practice charity, and you start to become charitable. Practice gentleness, and you start to become gentle. It doesn't matter whether you're in the mood to be gracious to the bank teller today, do it anyway, and watch how it begins to affect your mood. Choose the behavior of the self you wish to be, and the synapses that make up that personality begin to form. Your best self already exists in the ethers, just waiting to be downloaded. We become gracious when we decide to be gracious. We have the power to generate as well as react to feelings, to hone our personalities as we travel through life. In the words of George Eliot, it is never too late to be what you might have been. Today, choose to be your best self. It's one of my mantras every day. Let me bring my best self to the world today. My best heart, mind, body, spirit. Papoose, Morristown, New Jersey, May 2017. Papoose, swaddled natively, in soft sheets, warm blankets, snug with the large maternal body of the morning bed where I birth out of a deep, dreaming sleep on a cool and quiet country spring morning. On the Yucatan coast of Mexico, decades ago, in a place where I softened body and spirit over 10 years in a row, each winter, the kinds of experiences we can have and float in. Yes, especially going back to that point about finding a large body of water here and there now and then, to do that in, literally, debajo de mar en calma, under the calm sea. Underwater lies a luminous world where strands of light waver through the green glassiness, where your skin softens and glows, and all your limbs move slowly as in a dream. Below the surface, tender currents caress your body. Above, a warm breath plays on your neck and face as you sweep half-open eyes over the floating landscape. I've read this next poem one or two other broadcasts, but here it also fits just so. Liesl Müller's poem, Monet Refuses the Operation, as in Claude Monet, the painter. Doctor, you say there are no halos around the streetlights in Paris, and what I see is an aberration caused by old age and affliction. I tell you it has taken me all my life to arrive at the vision of gas lamps as angels, to soften and blur and finally banish the edges you regret I don't see, to learn that the line I called the horizon does not exist, and sky and water, so long apart, are the same state of being. 54 years before I could see Rouen Cathedral is built of parallel shafts of sun, and now you want to restore my youthful errors? Fixed notions of top and bottom, the illusion of three-dimensional space, wisteria separate from the Bridget covers. What can I say to convince you the Houses of Parliament dissolve night after night to become the fluid dream of the Thames? I will not return to a universe of objects that don't know each other, as if islands were not the lost children of one great continent. The world is flux, and light becomes what it touches, becomes water. Lilies on water, above and below water, becomes lilac and mauve and yellow and white and cerulean lamps. Small fists passing sunlight so quickly to one another that it would take long, streaming hair inside my brush to catch it, to paint the speed of light. Our weighted shapes, these verticals, burn to mix with air and change our bones, skin, clothes to gases. Doctor, if only you could see how heaven pulls earth into its arms, and how infinitely the heart expands to claim this world, blue vapor without end. Wonderful. Liesel Müller, from her collection Second Language. Vielen Dank, Liesel Müller. From the field gardens of the restaurant Primo, after dinner up in Rockland, Maine, mid-October 2017. Beautiful Indian summer. An immense sky. At the edge of Owl's Head, looking up into the night, into an immense sky of low-flying clouds, of soft openings in the overflowing sea of white, into indigo blue, into far, clear handfuls of stars, standing in a field so fragrant with autumn, with scents of wet earth, bark, fresh grasses and growings, in a free blousing wind, surprising, caressing in its balminess, its tropical fullness, like midwinter Mayan coast nights, like one late New Year's night in an olive grove in Apulia, where I stood barefoot under another immense sky, seeing, feeling, imbibing all the flying beauty, all the balm, the unexpected bounty, with my whole spirit, my whole body. And next to last, as summer now recedes in the wake of now autumn, a toast to its loveliness, its easefulness, of which there was much. Singing summer's swan song. It's a lilting song. It's a gilded song. It's a song that's sung in many tongues, every summer's end, from New England to Switzerland. You sing it gladly, gratefully, in a feather-soft voice, for all the fruits of light, warmth, ease another summer gave you. And you go on singing till the sun sets ever so lightly on it, on your face, on the sea, on the sand, on the blue-heroned salt ponds, into autumn. And last for now, till we're together again here, this from Cobble Hill, Brooklyn, April 2017, Luz de Vela, candlelight. You who bring such comfort to the darkness, spires of meditation to the stillness, who tenders light with simple gracefulness, you who dances on tables and faces, bedclothes and bath waters, who enchants the mind's eye to flicker back through rooms and nights, dinners and gardens, romances, remembrances of other moving candlelit moments, and glows on faithfully thousands of years and stories, and many a poet's heart-soft reveries later. O Luz de Vela. Thank you again, friends, for leaning in, thinking in, feeling in, for softening in. And thank you, wherever you do, for sharing this and other show links with friends or posting them out to your social media. Word of mouth is still the preferred way in my book for new listeners to discover these broadcasts. I invite your comments from listening, learning what's resonating, what's inspiring you. I also invite you to support these weekly programs I create as a gift to light up your days and deepen your wonder and wonderings. If there's any theme you'd like to see me base a future show on, send an email, colin@thepoetorialist.com. And what about your experience of this show on softening? Do tell me. And if, by the way, you are making a contribution, thank you very much. Much appreciated. You can do that by Venmo to Fivefold, Fivefold, at pipeline.com, or by PayPal to the same email. Or you can simply mail a check along to me to P.O. Box 1032, Westerly, Rhode Island, 02891, or just donate through my site, thepoetorialist.com, by way of the Donate tab. And for those new to listening, patrons can privately host or sponsor me at times as a working poet in residence in the U.S. or beyond to create a new flight of poetic art and dedicate it to that patron or sponsor. And if that's you, email me and we shall explore. Meanwhile, you can hear all the broadcasts online on YouTube, on the Floating Poetry playlist. And if you'd like even more multi-dimensional vitalizing for the inner and outer senses, explore the oasis of regenesis, of aliveness and possibility. I'm guiding the poetisphere.com. And to let you know, on October 6th, 2023, I'll be in a voce dialogue with Chloe Goodchild in the UK, chloegoodchild.com, the founder of the nakedvoice.com, a most marvelous spirit, a soul-singing philosopher, author, and transporting vocalist. It's her podcast series, hearable on many platforms. It's all about deep listening and courageous, compassionate, and transforming conversations. Meanwhile, I hope you'll lean in here soon again through the ether. Until then, dear listeners, may you soften your hearts, minds, spirits, bodies. Find and feel ease of way in these places and in life and the world's sometimes anxiety-producing passages. It may seem counterintuitive, but softening will serve you well, wildly well, beautifully well, as will being gentler with yourself and with others. You'll see if you haven't already. As I say each day to myself about joy, go where the softness is and go there often. Yes. To wind us out, the music that opened the show we'll close with by the composer Jacob Friedman. That was part of an original scoring that he did for my poem Something Greater. Goodbye for now, and good spirits.